Hey, what's good, everybody? I hope everybody's having a good day, good night, whenever you're watching this. I know this video isn't the best. Right now, I'm just sitting down playing a game. Just playing me some Minecraft. So if you guys hear a noise, that's why. Yeah, I actually haven't played my game in almost 2 weeks because I've been super busy with work and I've just been too tired to really play my game because work has been getting in the way of a lot of things. But I've been out of work the past few days because unfortunately we've been getting delayed on some things, especially work wise, and then had some things come up at work, and then also had a few other things that don't have to do with work that came up, which I'm about to talk about. So but yeah, if you guys hear a noise, for one, I'm playing a game, and that'll explain why it gets dark or light here too. Not only that too, you guys might see that moving. It's because I have a fan that's blowing towards me, and I got an AC on too. It was pretty hot in this room earlier, so. But anyways, I'm gonna get to the point now that I'm a minute and a half into the video. So, for those of you who follow me, you're subscribed to my channel. A few days ago, I put out a shorts video that saying that I was gonna have some storm videos up, and I also have a big vlog coming, which those videos are still coming. I will upload those at some point, hopefully in the next few days. I've been super delayed on uploading stuff because, like I said, work, and then unfortunately a few days ago something major came up, and we had not one passing in my family, but two on the same exact day. Now, I'm going to try and get through this without getting emotional. I do apologize right now if I do, but I'm going to try and get through this the best I can. Excuse me. But yeah, I put out a shorts video a few days ago saying that I had some videos that were coming up and I was going to get to uploading them. I had just uploaded a storm that we had that went through, which was June 10th severe thunderstorm. We had a thunderstorm that day, and then another severe thunderstorm yesterday. But yeah, not long after I recorded that first thunderstorm, I would receive a phone call from one of my other cousins unfortunately passed away, and he was only 27 years old. While I'm not 100% sure exactly what all he had, unfortunately he had quite a few issues that were heart related, and there's a few other things that was affecting him, and from what my great aunt was telling me, the doctors basically said that they were amazed by how long he lived, because when he was born he was in a pretty bad way, and they didn't think that he would have long to live. So but he lived to be 27. So like I said, the doctors were well amazed by how long he lived. But yeah, like I said, I would receive a phone call that unfortunately he passed away. And as if the news doesn't, trying to get my words right, I'm sorry. You would think the devastating news would have ended there. Unfortunately, that was not the case. About half an hour or so after I got that first phone call, I would receive another phone call that one of my great aunts had passed away from cancer. Unfortunately, I guess, she had been dealing, she had cancer a few other times in the past, and, she pulled through it. But unfortunately, this time, around New Year, I want to say, she ended up having it again, and it hit her hard this time. While I'm not 100% sure exactly what type of cancer she had, it was type of cancer that accelerated pretty quick, and it got bad. Last summer I heard that she had cancer, and then I heard that she had it taken care of, and then I didn't realize she had it again up until a week before Easter. I was at a family gathering because, usually my dad's side of the family, my grandpa and them, they usually celebrate Easter a week before Easter, which kind of works out, I'm not complaining, but anyways, beside my point, I received word from one of my great uncles that, my great aunt, whose name was Melissa, by the way, she was stage 4 at that point, and she wasn't doing so well. I guess my great uncle went over there to visit his brother, who was my great aunt Melissa's husband, and he saw her, and she looked like she wasn't doing so well. Like, she looked like she was in a pretty bad way, and didn't look like she was doing so well, and basically, my one great uncle that visited my other one, who was married to her, he didn't think that she had long to live, and I was kind of, after receiving that news, I unfortunately had a feeling that she wasn't gonna get out of it this time, because I guess even the doctors were saying that, there really wasn't much they could do for her, which is sad. That is something, cancer and heart-related issues, that's something I would never wish to happen to anybody, regardless of how I feel about that person, For, my cousin Zach, who passed away, I didn't get into what I heard about him a while or so back. I know back in November of 2024, I would receive word from my great aunt and great uncle, who was his parents, saying that, basically he was getting looked at, he wasn't in the best way then, and they thought that he wouldn't be around for more than 2 weeks, and then he ended up pulling out of it. He ended up being fine after that for a while. I ended up seeing him at a family gathering back in early August of last summer, and yeah, he didn't look like he was in the best way, but he was still out and about. He was swimming, he was having conversations, he was joking around, so I didn't really give it much thought. I thought maybe he was doing alright. I thought maybe he pulled out of it pretty good, but I was still aware of the issues he was dealing with, and So unfortunately, with my cousin Zach and my great aunt Melissa, I knew that their time was unfortunately going to come to an end because of the issues they were both dealing with. But I did not expect it to happen in the same day. Just not even 2 hours, not even a full hour, if that. I mean, I'm not exactly sure what time my cousin Zach passed, because that was really never mentioned to me, but yeah, I received a call about my cousin Zach who passed away, and they notified me about it, and then I got on Facebook and there was a post that was posted, I think about maybe 45-50 minutes or so prior to me seeing the post that he had passed away. But I hadn't seen anything about my great aunt, but I did see a post from the day before that they both weren't doing so well, and I was just, not only was I grieving the loss of my the loss of my cousin, but I was also super concerned about my great aunt too, because she wasn't in the best way, and but yeah, like I said, not even a full half hour or so after I received a call about my cousin, that's when I would receive another phone call about my great aunt, unfortunately. So yeah. It's definitely something I would have never expected to happen, and I knew they were both having some issues and they weren't gonna last for much longer, but I did not expect it to happen both on the same day. I tell you that right now, and I'm still in complete shock that it happened. Was I devastated when I heard the news about both of them? Absolutely. I don't think I slept much that night after hearing about it. Yeah, that's for sure. So, yeah. Because of that, that's kind of why I haven't been uploading videos I've been taking, the past few days. Because I wanted to come out and I wanted to put this out there, but at the same time I didn't want to rush to put this video out there, because I had to take time to think it through, because it just took me a little bit to process that this actually happened, and while I wasn't super close with my great aunt and my cousin, they were very nice people. With my cousin, him and I, we've made jokes before, we've had good talks, never had any issues, no ill will or anything like that towards each other, We've had good conversations, we've joked around with each other, About the only time I did see him, though, was at a family gathering, because that's kind of how it is with a lot of people. You know, a lot of my cousins, you know, and a lot of my great aunts and great uncles. But, yeah. I am still sad about it, obviously, you know, but I'm handling my emotions about this a little better than I have been, you know. In my head, you know, yeah, I still want to break out in tears about it, but, you know, it's just, I am handling it better, you know. I think if it was a closer family member, like any of my parents or my grandparents, I think I'd probably still be even more emotional about it. But, you know, again, these are things that I would never wish to happen to anybody, you know, regardless of how I feel about them. And, yeah. I remember telling my cousin Zach one time about the things I like to do, and, you know, he was interested in he told me that he was interested in some of the things that I did, and, you know, I told him, well, you know, I told him a few years back, you know, maybe one day I'll have to take you on some of the adventures that I like to go on, because I thought he would have liked it. And unfortunately, I never had a chance to do that with him. You know, as much as I am sad about this, you know, one thing I can say is, you know, I feel pretty horrible, I'm getting my freaking words mixed up, guys. I'm sorry. I do feel horrible for my great aunt and great uncle, who are his parents. You know, and also some of my other cousins, who are his siblings, you know. I absolutely feel extremely horrible. My word. I keep wanting to say horrible for some reason. I'm trying to type in the word torch on Minecraft, and I think that's where I'm getting it. So, this probably wasn't a good idea to make this video while playing my game, but yeah, you know, I feel horrible for, yeah, my great aunt, great uncle, and some of my cousins who are his siblings. You know, they are very torn up about losing him, and, you know I would be too if he was my brother. You know, that's for sure. It's not something I would ever wish to happen to anybody, like I said a few times. As for my great aunt, who passed away, I feel extremely bad for her daughter, and also her grandchildren, because I know that they're hurting from this right now, and I understand they're probably not taking this the best, and, you know, my heart absolutely aches for them, big time. You know, that is for sure. You know, unfortunately, it's part of life, you know. Nobody lives forever. You know, that's one of the unfortunate things about life. But I do believe that my great aunt and my cousin are with Jesus now. You know, I definitely think they're both in a better place now. You know, I hope and pray that they made it to heaven. You know, I understand, you know, not everybody makes it there, but, you know, I'm sure that's where they're at. But, you know, regardless, it's still sad, though. You know, my cousin, like I said, he was only 27 years old, and that's how old I am as well. So, my great aunt, I don't remember at the top of my head how old she was. She wasn't the oldest one in the family. I think she might have been, I don't think she was anywhere like older than her, maybe her low 70s. I'll have to look again. I'm freaking horrible at remembering ages and stuff like that, so, but, yeah, I'm definitely gonna miss my cousin and my great aunt. You know, it sucks that they both passed away, you know, especially on the same exact day. I would have never expected this to happen like this. But, like I said, I don't think any of them are suffering anymore. I pray that they are both in a better place. You know, and like I said, you know, my heart absolutely aches for, you know, their brothers, their sisters, you know, and their, you know, my cousin's parents, and, you know, my great aunt's daughter and grandchildren, you know, because, like I said, they're still hurting. They're probably going to be hurting for quite some time. You know. So, yeah. I just wanted to put a video out there talking about this, because, you know, this right here is part of the reason why I ended up delaying quite a few of my uploads that I said I was going to upload. So, you know, that is something I am going to get to doing after this video goes up. I just didn't, you know, I just wasn't in the best mood after hearing about the passings of both my great aunt and my cousin, and, you know, I just wanted to come out and talk about what happened rather than leave everybody in the dark about why I'm getting behind on uploading. So, yeah, it's definitely a sad situation, and, you know, I pray that this does not happen again, but sometimes things just happen and you just gotta learn how to accept it, you know. Like I said, sometimes it's part of life. While it's not often you hear about people losing two different family members from different situations in the same day, you know. The unfortunate reality is it happened on my end. So, I'm sure it's happened to other people at some point, but at this point, I don't know. But I just wanted to get this video out there because I know a few days ago I said that I was going to have some videos uploaded, and then I found out about both the passings of my cousin and my great aunt. So, yeah, I'm sorry about the delays. I'm sorry about the postponings. You know, I'm already behind on that stuff as is. You know, I'm gonna get to uploading those videos as soon as I can, but at the same time, just I was not in the best mood when I heard about those passings. And yeah, granted, I'm still not, but I'm handling it better. It's just sad, you know. So, but it is what it is. You know, to anybody out there, you know, if you know somebody that may have cancer and they don't look like they're doing bad, you know, be sure to check up on them. Because you never know when it can go from nothing to all of a sudden something super quick. Same thing with those who are dealing with anything heart related or something like that. Something that can easily put their life to an end, you know. Never put that stuff aside, you know, the second you hear about it, because you never know, you might wake up the next day and hear about them passing, you know. But anyways, I don't want to make this video too long. I'm sorry if I repeated myself. Apologize if I got some of my words mixed up. But I plan to have more videos uploaded in the next few days. But I just, like I said, I just wanted to put this out there and talk about what happened. And at this point, I'm not 100% sure about when funerals are or anything like that. I think for my great aunt, I think her daughter was talking they were just going to do a celebration of life. I'm not exactly sure when they're planning on doing that. But as far as my cousin goes, I'm not too sure about that as well. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. You know, be sure to hug your loved ones. And if you, like I said, if you know somebody who is dealing with any sort of health issue, like, be sure to check up on them. Because you never know when it can go from something small and minor to something big and major, to where it can take their life in a blink of an eye. So, I'm done speaking. I'm gonna go ahead and put this video to an end now. You guys take care, be safe, and rest in peace to my cousin Zach and my great aunt Melissa.